Previously on The Created. Charlotte turns around to see Aldo standing right behind her, his head slumped to one side, his eyes staring right at her, unblinking, unmoving. Aldo, are you alright? Small trickles of blood drip down from the puncture wounds across his face and neck.
I'm fine, Lashana. Give me your hand.
Like a contortionist, his arm twists around unnaturally as he holds his hand out towards her. Charlotte, naturally sensing that something is definitely not right, she backs away, but is now conflicted as behind her is a vampire trapped within a jail cell, thirsty for blood, and in front of her is whatever Aldo has now become. 15 on the nose. Joy. Okay, so Viktor. Viktor bursts out of the jail cell. The door swings and slams against the wall it's attached to. A chunk of metal and wood breaks off of the wall as Viktor stumbles out due to the sheer force that he used against the door. His hair a mess, his jacket barely hanging onto his arms as it slipped down the back. He stands panting. Charlotte, now in more of a panic, seeing his glowing red eyes in the dark, his hands tense and like claws. The tips of his fingers look sharper than normal. Viktor stands between both Lashana and Aldo. So we now need to see who Viktor is coming for. It is a close escape. Alright. I guess with this then, so yeah, it's more a race, I would say, between Viktor and Charlotte. Aldo has returned to his floppy marionette moving as he scuffles and walks, clicking and like making all these weird unnatural noises as the little carionette just giggles to itself beside his head, sitting on his shoulder. Charlotte bolts through the hallways and towards the main entrance to the police station with Viktor hot on her tail. So, to set the scene, as this is a very, very important role now, Viktor is sprinting after Lashana and is literally about to pounce through the doorway to grab her. And at the same time, Lashana is turning around to cast Thaumaturgy to slam the door essentially right in his face, to cut him off, and so then she can make a clear escape. So she really needs to make this roll now. She needs to beat a 21 in order to do this. I have nothing that can help. Come on. Come on, Charlotte. Come on. Oh my God. One thing I didn't do before was roll on the forfeit table when we got the nat 20. This can be our only chance of maybe coming out alive from this. Alright. See what we get. This is from the Nat 20 earlier, because we didn't roll on the forfeit table. Double strike. You hit 2 adjacent enemies. There's only one, then you hit it twice. Roll again if it's not in an encounter. If you're not in an encounter. I don't know why I struggle to say that. Roll again if not in an encounter. In an encounter. I don't know why I can't say that. I think for this, I would have to take the double strike. If she's getting grabbed, naturally she's just going to start swinging. Now, for the critical fail forfeit table. Mild inconvenience. Okay. Opposite to a 1d6 inspiration die, which must be used on the affected character's next roll. Ah, so her double strike is going to be reduced by 1d6. I will apply it to both strikes. A mild inconvenience. Alright, so I just did a little test thing because I realized I made a big mistake. Back in the jail cell, I set myself a ruling that the likelihood of him breaking out was unlikely, so all dice rolls were at -5. I did it to the first one, but then the second roll, where the DC was 15 and he rolled 15 on the nose, that should have been at -5, so he would have got 10, meaning he's still locked in the jail cell. And then I rolled again just to see what would happen if he was still in the jail cell. And I rolled an 8. So he would still be locked in the jail cell. But, you know, I kind of ran with it. I went with the vibe of what my initial brain was saying in terms of the dice rolls, even though I did the ruling incorrectly. As punishment to myself, I'm allowing this to continue, which means Charlotte is in a difficult situation. Upon exiting the police station, Charlotte turns around, casting Thaumaturgy, this time slamming the front doors shut. Only she is not quick enough. Viktor, in his starved frenzy, leaps through the doors just as they slam shut, landing on the paved slabs of the entrance before pouncing for Charlotte's flesh. Clawed hands outstretched as his starving fangs lust for her blood. Charlotte screams as she desperately tries to bat him away. Okay, we're gonna do the double attack from the Nat 20 that we had. I don't see this being much of a help though. A double attack with a club. There's no way she'll have enough time to pull an arrow and knock her bow to then shoot it. We're going to need Viktor's sheet up as well. Armor class 18. First attack. Second attack. Okay, just as I imagined it. She turns, casts the spell slamming the doors. Viktor's leaping right at her while she's doing this. Instinctively, she swings the club and is much too soon with the attack. Is then the whole force and body of Viktor slams into Charlotte as she swings again, but the club flies out of her hand as she falls to the floor screaming. Oh, and both of these rolls would have been at -6 as well. So So let's just see how much worse it was. So the 14 was a 12, and the 7 was a 3. Okay. So, yeah. Swings and a miss, and then swings, and the bat goes flying as she slumps to the floor, screaming. Viktor, with like saliva coming, just flinging out of his mouth, chomps down onto her throat as Charlotte screams in pain, but finds that she can't quite get any breath out. We're gonna do... So there's a couple things with Viktor. We're gonna do the Withering Contact first. Should be minus 1d10 necrotic damage on Charlotte. I don't believe she has any resistances to necrotic. Nope, only poison. Charlotte got a critical fail, so this bite attack will definitely hit. I don't need to roll an advantage roll. Oh no, it wouldn't be advantage, that's only when he's bloodied. So I wouldn't need to roll to hit anyway. Gain HP equal to damage dealt and a bonus to your next skill check or attack equal to the damage dealt. So what is the damage dealt? So if I first roll this. Okay, necrotic damage is not too bad. So slamming into Charlotte and feeling this dark energy sucking at her life force straight from just contact with Viktor's skin, Viktor's hands. You can use the bite a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus. 3 times. So Viktor, in his frenzy, is gonna actually bite her multiple times. Rather than just one bite, this is 3 bites that are just chomping down at her. He's being an absolute savage right now. He doesn't care about mess or spilling blood anywhere. He's just literally devouring into her. We don't need to attack, it's just straight damage rolls. I think first one should be a crit because of the crit fail. Being 12. Second roll coming in will be normal. There's the second bite. 7. And the third bite. 6. And Charlotte is now bloodied at 29 hit points. Feeling a lot of pain. She's going to try and break free and struggle out of Viktor's grasp. I guess this will be, I think, breaking out of grapple is acrobatics. Okay, so I choose either acrobatics or athletics to break out. So I'm going to choose acrobatics, and it's contested against Viktor's athletics. So Viktor's first, just to see what the line is. 23. I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense though, because he is starved for blood. Acrobatics. Charlotte will attempt to break out of his grasp.
20.
Oh my god! Go Charlotte! Alright, let's do the table now then, see if there's anything that can help. At 24 fit. A divine intervention! She has a divine intervention! Alright. Okay, so they both have divine intervention. This one might help with Viktor. Right. Charlotte, struggling with blood pouring out of her, she will begin to, with just sheer determination, and survival instincts with adrenaline kicking in, she manages to push Viktor off of her throat, and it's a painful ordeal as she can feel his teeth very slowly pulling out of her flesh as she struggles and her arms shaking as she pushes his head back, his mouth trying to bite back and chomp at her as she gets blood flicked onto her face, and she manages to push him higher up. Viktor goes to swing a clawed hand down at her, at her face. And in that moment, as Viktor's arm is held high and is about to come slamming down, Charlotte just anticipates this impact, and her arms, she can feel them literally about to give in as she loses her strength. But as Viktor's arm comes down, a kind of light blue energy slams into Viktor and pushes Charlotte back with what feels like a large claw. Charlotte, now dazed with blurry eyes, tries to refocus and sees this ghostly reptile standing in front of her, breathing ice at Viktor, and Viktor is darting back to the police station and crawling along the walls of the police station to escape the blast, as this ghostly reptile basically defending her and fighting Viktor. Charlotte uses this moment to get up onto her feet and stumble out into the mists of Odier and out into the city. Panicked, panting, tears coming down her face, her eyes still blurred. Charlotte has stumbled and crashed into these little, what were once market stalls holding items are now empty. There's stuff, there's like a crate that's tipped over where there's like toys and ribbons have like fallen out onto the floor. Charlotte is actually going to try and desperately grab some of the fabrics and ribbons that are there. Now, she doesn't feel like she has much time at the moment. She is going to go to the nearby building of High Spirits Inn. As she stumbles up the stairs, collapsing to the floor, picks herself back up again, and her body is in pain from stumbling onto steps, from being bitten, from being slammed into the floor. She starts banging away at the door. "Let me in! Please! Open up! Let me in!" And the door is locked, and there is no signs of life from within the inn. She thinks that she can possibly see like the shadow of someone in the window, which appears to move away. So she bangs again. "Please! Please! Something is after me! Let me in!" But there is no answer. And she turns round, expecting to see Viktor giving chase soon. And in amongst the mist, she hears several different sounds. One being the roars of the large, ghostly reptile that had defended her. Followed by multiple footsteps in the distance. not trusting where she is and, you know, the safety of where she's sitting, and she's just across the road from the police station. She will go down and begin to move around the building and down the side. I'm gonna roll as she sits down. I need to roll a d8. Preparation. So Charlotte, just moving to the side of this building, right at the entrance of the alleyway, she will then sit to one side in a corner amongst a bunch of like crates and bins and other objects. One, she's going to be trying to catch her breath and calm down. And two, she's going to try and desperately heal herself, or try to at least reduce the bleeding. Now, she is not a healer, so I'm going to say the DC is 18. With a 9, it's not good enough. She doesn't know how to reduce the bleeding on her neck and on her shoulder. And all she ends up doing is just causing these bits of fabric to soak up a bit of blood, but it's not stopping the bleeding. As she is still bleeding, then I will roll a d8. It was a d8 for Viktor's bite. It was 1d4 plus 2. Okay. So we'll roll another one of them. Okay, so she loses 3 hit points. She's currently bleeding. I'm going to give her the status effect. Is there one to say that she's bleeding? Corroding? No. Bleeding. We'll do that. Can I make it bigger? There you go. Viktor, at this point, will escape from the ghostly reptile and will begin hunting Charlotte. The mist is very obscuring right now. I will say, well, you are a frenzied vampire. You've tasted her blood. You would have advantage with maybe perception, with smelling the blood. Yeah, it would be perception. With a 15. I'd say 15. There's not really any saves that I can do that will, you know, stop him smelling blood splats that have leaked onto the floor. So with a 15, Viktor is hunting Charlotte and moves in the same locations where she has been. Charlotte's beginning to hear noises slowly approaching. As he'll begin moving towards her. Charlotte will instinctively move further down the alleyway. Now I'm going to need a perception check from her. And maybe a stealth check. See if she can hide her footsteps. So we'll do a stealth and a perception check. 15 for stealth, okay. And perception, will just give me an idea. 14, okay. So as she's moving down, she will actually see a carrionet we? She will see a carrionet standing ahead of her. I mean, the token should be smaller, but that's fine. Which causes her to stop. The carrionet will then scurry off, giggling to itself, down the alleyway, which leads under an archway of this building. Viktor will start to round the corner, still not seeing Charlotte at this point. And with the 15, I'd say Charlotte can just about make out the silhouette of Viktor through the mist, slowly crawling, and then he goes up onto his feet and starts moving some of the boxes around carefully, sniffing the air as he does it. Charlotte does not want to stick around, but also seeing the carrionet nearby, she's a little unsure what she'll do. And what she would likely do is cut through this area of what looks like hay. It's probably like a stables. It appears to be where there's animals penned, but some of these, and all these animals here, they none of them are harmed. These animals are still quite calm. I'd definitely say that this is a stables, actually. I was trying to think, like, would it be like pigs and stuff? No, it wouldn't be. Especially with like the gate wide open. But she can see that there are numerous stables here with horses locked away inside, and the horses seem quite calm. Some of them are resting up inside to the back. One's poking their head out. As she stumbles through and creeps round through the stables, because she didn't follow the carrionets. The reason why I rolled that D8 earlier was for a possible event that would have happened. I'm now going to ask the Oracle. Oracle, would these carrionets be annoyed that Lashana didn't follow them, or Charlotte, I should say, didn't follow them, and try to climb into the stables to attack her? No. So these carrionets are waiting as they've set up a trap, but Charlotte was wise enough to go a different route round as Viktor will begin moving down, sniffing the air.
Where are you?
Charlotte, not wanting to be in this town any longer, does not want to stick around for whatever's happening here and for whatever's taken hold of Viktor. She is just gonna make a run for it and leave. We are gonna have to do another D4 plus 2. I noticed that with Viktor though, didn't it do more damage than this? I need to double check because I'm pretty sure it did more. I'm pretty right. Yeah, it's doing 1d4 plus 2 plus 2. Where's this plus 2 coming from? Why are you adding another 2? And we are going to need to do another d4 plus 2 bleed damage. I know Viktor was getting extra plus 2, but that was only because he was biting because of his class. He gains plus 2 for his fighting stance. However, this is just normal bleed, so she's not going to get another 2 on top of that. So it'll be slightly less than what it was originally. 5. Alrighty. I'm going to make her do a constitute. I mean, it's only been, 12 seconds? Each turn is meant to be 6 seconds, isn't it? Although I would say running through the streets takes longer than 6 seconds or so. We'll see if the bleeding does stabilize by itself. So we'll do a constitution save. I'll say the DC is a constitution, so 16 or more. To see if the bleeding just starts to slow down by itself, like it's actually causing it's coagulating is the correct term, isn't it? It's causing a big scab to slowly form. It's stopping itself. Maybe the bite wasn't as deep, but there are multiple bites though. With a 7. Nope. That's a quick answer to that one. Alrighty, fine. So she is going to make a run for it. Down the street. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, it's leaving blood splats as she runs as well. 7. Oh, wait. No, how much do you move? Movement is 30. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So 6. So you just make it just short. Okay. Viktor now, following the blood trail that would be here, but it's only showing here. I've just done a major update now. You didn't see anything because I cut it all out. I was trying to resolve a little bug that had come up, and so I updated everything. So things might look a tiny bit different, but not too much. So 1, that's 5, 10, 20, 30. Now, here's the big question for Viktor. You do have a taste for blood. However, you're seeing horses now. Would you be tempted by the horses? We'll ask the Oracle. Oracle, will Viktor be tempted by the horses? Yes, okay, that makes sense. It does make sense. Okay, so Viktor now is going to do I guess a wisdom saving throw. He's higher than a 13. If it's lower, then his thirst is too great and he ends up killing a horse instead and gives up on chasing after Lashana. He has had a taste for Charlotte, not Lashana. Keep wanting to say Lashana, but it's not, it's Charlotte. He does have a taste for Charlotte though, so I will give this roll advantage. 21, okay. He ignores the horses, following the trail of blood. I will make him dash, so he moves an extra 30. So that's 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So he's nearing round the corner. He's just come out from the stables and is looking and sniffing around. I think I will have Viktor do a perception check against Charlotte's stealth one more time. So here's the line. 16, to see if Charlotte can get away from, or at least sneak away a bit more before he notices where she is. And is like, there you are. Okay, need to beat a 16. 11. She's definitely not. She sees Viktor nearing, appearing around, sees the crimson eyes glowing in the night through the mist, and she gasps loudly and can't help making panicked noises, which then Viktor hears and looks in her direction. Viktor bolts towards her, and Lashana is going to make a run for it whilst also praying to her god. Divine intervention. And I believe she is religious. Although her religion is 0. Okay, maybe she's not religious. Yes, yeah, that's right. She's spiritual. So she, in terms of this, she doesn't believe in a god per se, more believes in spirits and being one with the dream realm. She's more than likely, now that her memory is returned, she's going to call out to Charlotte, instinctively will begin to pray to what she considers to be the guardian spirit, but what she is actually thinking of and who she's trying to connect with is a Kalarak quarry known as Taratai. Taratai. Taratai, I believe is how you pronounce that. She is going to call out for his help, or its help, or her help. No, please, help me! Help me! Viktor, come to your senses, please! These cries of help and reach out, unbeknownst to her, into the dream realm. I will keep it true to how the divine intervention is. It will be acting as if she is, a level 10 cleric. So it's a 10% chance. There's very little chance of doing it. I'm going to choose 10 consecutive numbers rather than scattering them around. I'm picking numbers between 22 and 32. My brain kept screaming 21 at me, and normally I should ignore the loudest thought when it's like, pick that number, because it's normally wrong. But I kept thinking of 20s, so I'm going to go 22 to 32.